everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and I'm here with a new project for you. This is from our 2020 January release, so I'm going to start working my way through all of these new stamp sets, and I think you're going to really love them. I'm going to start out with this cottage set, and it actually contains two of these large cottages, and of course you can accessorize them and dress them up with so many of your flowers and foliages. There's lots and lots of ways that you can use them. So I'm going to show you really simply how to put this together. In addition to that cottage set, which is right here, I'm using this one right here, but you also get this cute little one, and you can also put them together. Be really cute. This is the large cottage cabin set. And then also I'm going to use this little accessory set. So this is the lamppost set, and I'm going to use this one facing to the right, and then also this little guy right here. So these are really fun to use, fun accessories. In addition, we're going to use something from the little mini flower set. So this little cluster of blooms right here, use that one. But if you look at all of these, there's so many things that you can use. Grasses, foliages, vines, tons of ways to dress up those cabins. Also in the foliage set, the grass and the vine. So those two staples we're going to be using. And we're going to get started with this little cabin. So we're going to put those little flowers into the planters, and add some foliage around, and those little lampposts and accessories on the sides. So let's get started. We're going to start out with the basic image, of course, and we're going to stamp that little cabin. And I'm going to stamp it in two colors, ink it in two colors. So brown and dark blue. And because that cabin is wood, we're going to start with the blue first and then the brown. So I'm going to just ink this whole thing up here, the whole thing. Ink that all up. Use the side of your marker. It's going to get that color on there way quicker than trying to color it on like this. That's just, would be so frustrating and take forever. So I'm adding the blue, and then right over the top of the blue, I'm going to add the brown. Right over the top. And ink this all up. Now I've got a lot of ink on here, so I'm going to stamp it off because I don't want it too dark. And if you get it too dark on here, we're adding a lot of color to it, and we don't want that to bleed in and kind of muddy those colors. So that's another reason to stamp it off. We want it really, really light. So I've got that stamped off, and now I'm ready to stamp it onto my watercolor project. And there we go. That's perfect. We want those thin, thin lines so we can still pull the color out of it, but we also don't want to see a dark outline in the background. We want this to look like a little painting. So I'm going to start out with my brush and pinch it off, dip it in water, and pinch it off so that it's flat. That's always the first step. And I always start where it's the darkest. So that would kind of be under these eaves here. Remember, you're following the side of the line, so you're not coloring over the top of it. You're just kind of following it, and just kind of work your way around here. This is just the first stage under this little planter here, and you can see these little planters don't have lines across the top, so it's only the very bottom, and that's because we don't want to have to fight with those lines when we add the flowers and the foliage in here. So when you go to add that in, you don't have a line across here that you're sort of fighting, and the flowers can kind of hang over the top. So I think it makes it much easier. So I am still just pulling this color out. And you know, you don't have to be careful. You're just pulling that color out. You can see how it starts to change and become more three-dimensional. So you can see these little stones. See the little stones in this fireplace? Those are contours, so they're rounded. We want to see a little highlight on there, even though they're tiny. Just kind of pull that color from the bottom and let that highlight be on the top. Hope you can see that. Okay, we've got the majority of it done here. That looks pretty good. So let's go on to the next step. And I'm going to add some color now to the window. So we're going to start adding color to this little cabin. And I'm going to start with my dark blue on my palette. and just brush some color into the windows. Now you can do this however you want to. You can add some detail in here like this. Maybe you want to show some little window panes here. That would be really cute. Add some detail. Don't bring this all the way down, because remember, we're going to fill these little planters with blooms. So we don't want to have to fight. We're not fighting the line across here, so we don't have to fight with the color in the windows either. So let's take some of this now. And when you're putting this color in, kind of stay away from those lines. Stay away from the outside lines. For a couple of reasons. It's going to give you a little more depth in here. It sort of looks like the window, the inside of the window when you leave that white area. And also, it doesn't muddy your blue. So I don't want to get too much of that into the blue. I'm going to make this pretty dark in here. And again, remember that you've got blooms coming into these planters, so we don't want too much of this dark color over the top. And I think I'll just go back over this, and you can see this little window pane is not perfect, and it's okay. It's totally okay. If you really want to make that perfect, you can just take a pencil and draw that in. That's perfectly fine to do that, but you don't need to do that. And you know, these projects are made to be done in 15-20 minutes, honestly. Get your markers out, get your stamps out, and finish a project quick. Don't overthink it. Stamp it, leave some white spaces, and show your highlights, and honestly, you're good to go. Done in a few minutes and out the door. It's kind of my philosophy. Done in a few minutes and out the door. Okay, so now I'm adding some more color here. So this is a different blue. This is a bright blue. This is actually number 526. I love this blue. It's one of my favorite colors. I try to find a place for it in almost everything I do, either in the sky or in the flowers somewhere. And now I'm putting it on the roof, which I also love. Remember, don't color all the way to the top. Leave that little highlight on the top of the roof. Now this is going to be dark under here. So we've got a highlight going, or we've got a shadow. So just, you know, avoid coloring anything in solid. I feel like I say that in every video, but it really is important. Once you color it in solid, it's flat. It looks flat. So now this over here, where this little eave is, that's going to be darker. Same in here. It's going to be darker in here. And then, of course, this part of the roof. Put that in here. And you can come back over it again. You can come back over it again and add more color, darken it if you want to, or you can leave it light. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go on to the next step, and that is to add a little shadow now. And we're going to do that with the dark blue. So I'm going to take a little bit of this color and just brush this in. So this is in the shadow. This is on the side of the structure here. So this is going to be darker in here also. And you can also add a little shadow in this little V area of the planters. Let's kind of go back a little bit. And this cottage it's mostly white, but never just leave it white. Pull some of the color out and kind of muddy it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to add some color now to the door, and since I've gone so bright with the roof, I think I'll go bright with the door and use some purple here. So things don't always have to be literal. You don't always have to do like a brown door, blue door. Who wouldn't love a purple door and a blue roof? So cute. And brush that in. I'm going to go darker here now where the little door handle is. And add a little more color in here, just like that. And then we're going to have a shadow up here on the top. And I think I'll add some of this purple to these little shutters here. And again, you don't have to be careful about how you put this on. Put it on. Put it on and be done. Okay, so we are good now with this little house. I'm gonna just add a little color now. This is the fine tip of my brown. And I'm just gonna darken this in here. You can see I left a tiny little highlight on there because that is a contour, and so it's gonna have a little highlight on it. So let's go ahead and put our little blooms in. So they're gonna go right in this white area here. And you know, because they're rubber, you can't see through it, but if you can see on here at the bottom of the stamp, actually, if you line it up with the bottom of the planter, it's about in the perfect place. So if you're afraid of stamping it and you don't want to use a positioner, you can kind of line it up that way. So I'm using two colors. Started out with an orange, but honestly, you can make these any color you want. And I'm just kind of working my way across like that. And then let's clean this off really good. And I'm going to use another color here. So I'm going to use a pink, and I want a little deeper pink. So I'm going to mix a bright pink. So this is number 725, and I'm going to put a little red in here. So we'll kind of deepen this color up a little bit. And then of course my green on the grass part. And I'm going to do the same thing here, kind of set it right in here like this. Ink it again. And you can get in here about two or three times across the planter. So again, kind of place it in here like so. And then over here on the side, it's a little planter too. So I'm going to just clean off this stamp really well. And just ink just half of it. Same pink and red and green. And then I'm just going to kind of tap this in here, just like that. So I've got a half one over here and these two. So now you can see these are showing in the planter, but you don't see that line in there, so they're super, super easy to place. Drag the color down with this green. Just drag it down and just draw a little line across the base. And you can see now that it's in the planter. And then just touch all these little blooms. So cute. So quick. Clean my brush off before I go into this orange here. And you can probably hear the rain outside. All of a sudden it just started. And of course, just when I start filming, the rain starts coming down. But I don't know, it's something about being inside and working on a watercolor project when it's cold and nasty and rainy outside. Just the best. Okay, so we are getting through with this. And you can see how this just kind of pops out these little planters. I'm going to add some blue now down underneath here and get another little shadow and drag this right across the bottom like this. You can add a little bit in here on the side of the chimney. And in here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's continue on now. Let's add some grasses down in the bottom. Little tiny grass. You can use any green. And just kind of stamp it in here like this. You can add as much of this as you want. It's really fun. And, you know, because there's so many options with these, there's so many ways that you can use them. Of course, changing out the color will change out the season. They're really fun. And then once you've stamped it a few times and you get it, it's not intimidating anymore. So I'm pulling some of this color now out to the side just to kind of muddy it up a little bit. And let's add a little color now to the sky. Just a little bit in here. You can see I'm just actually, it looks like I'm kind of pushing the color around. I'm really not brushing. There's no brush strokes. I'm just kind of moving the color around a little bit. And you just want a little bit in here. So I'm going to add a little bit of foliage with my vine, and then I can put those little lamps in. So I'm just using part of this here. And a little bit over on this side. Dip my brush, pinch it off. And just dab. You don't have to get every leaf. You're just kind of dabbing at the image as a whole. There we go. Okay, so let's put our little lamp in. And I'm going to ink this in 2 colors. So the dark blue and the dark brown. I want it to kind of look more like a metal, like a little metal light. And I'm going to stamp it now into my positioner. So I sure don't want to guess on this. And that looks pretty good right there. Puff on that and stamp it. Be careful not to stamp it too hard. These are tiny and fine little lines, and you don't want them to be too dark. So just a little bit of pressure. And of course, no water on this little post here. And this is a contour, even though it's tiny, so you want to see that highlight in the middle still. And it doesn't take much at all. And that looks good like that. And let's go ahead and put the other one in. And I'm also going to use my positioner. Love this little thing. Never leave home without it. And I'm going to do the same thing. And actually, I think I'll start with the blue again. And the brown right over the top. And stamp that right into the corner, just like so. And you can put this anywhere. There's a right and a left, so you can put one on each side of your little cabin. And this too, you want to stamp it, you know, very carefully. You don't want to just press on too much pressure down here in the bottom, where the bottom of this little post is, so that it doesn't get too wide. And then, of course, drag that color out, bottom. No color onto the post at all. You don't need to add any color to that. And just a little bit in here where the glass is. And maybe just a little shadow out here like that. You could add some more flowers in here. You could add some more vines in here. I mean, honestly, the sky's the limit with these. So fun. So we are finished with this little project. One more thing to do, and that is to sign and date. I'm using my little TwinTone fine tip here. And you can put that on a card or put it in a frame and give it away. You're going to make someone's day. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will see you next week with more of our 2020 release. Thanks again.